Hey folks, I'm Michael.
I'm CJ, and we are casting.
And such. So today we're here with let's call this the first episode.
Oh, first episode
It may
vibes.
very well not be, but we'll see how we order it. But yeah, this is probably going to be the first episode of our podcast that we're going to do, which we're calling Casting and Such, where we just talk about stuff we like.
So that covers a lot of stuff.
Pretty much, yeah. You're in for a wild ride, guys. Today we thought we'd start with something a bit closer to our hearts. Pokemon, of course, as you may have seen from the title of the video there.
Our conversation centre on Pokemon quite a lot. It's a big common interest we've got. And it just seemed natural to have that as the first episode.
Yeah, I think there's plenty to talk about with Pokemon. It's never just going to be this one episode that will be Pokemon related.
Or it would be a 4 million hour long episode.
Oh, Christ, would be here forever.
We really would be.
But no, I think we're going to talk about something, just going to start off with something nice and easy with our favourite Pokemon.
You say easy. There's nothing more difficult than trying to order your children, from 5 to 1, as to who you love the most.
I'm pretty sure your parents could pick out their favourite child.
Maybe not out of 5. I will never be the favourite child. I'm too much of a little pain in the butt.
Yeah, that's true. So we're gonna... Well, it was easier for me. I pretty much always have my top 5 pretty much set very slightly, maybe, but it was fairly easy for me. You've always got the top 3 that never vary.
Yeah, getting the top 5 was fairly easy, but picking between who was second place and who was first place, now that was the difficult bit.
Mm-hmm.
I think without further ado, we should just get into it. Go nice and brutal and harsh. And since it's ladies first, you can go first, Michael.
Okay, I'm cool with that. I was actually going to say you could go first. But no, it's fine, I'll take over. So, number 5 for myself is Gallade. Gallade, he's so cool. And I say I can definitely say for a fact that Gallade is a he, which you can't with a lot of Pokemon.
Nope.
You can gender them and say oh, that Muck's really cool, I really like how he looks. You can never gender, Pokemon like that.
Except with Pokemon like Gallade.
Gallade you can always gender. That's not the reason he's number 5 in my favourites.
I like him because I can gender him.
I like him because
ambiguity scares me.
He's a dude. I like Gallade for just... He's badass. Gen 4, when I first played Gen 4, I didn't like it. I felt like a lot of the Pokemon were the evolutions from previous generations. You know how it did Tangrowth, Electivire, Magmortar.
Yeah.
Gallade was one of those. Gallade out of all of them was my favourite. I despise Magmortar, which is a shock to a lot of people.
That is definitely a shock, and you'll find out why later.
But Gallade is just... It seems different, because it's not it is an evolution to a Pokemon that already existed, but you still... it wasn't like Gardevoir evolved into Gallade, it was just an alternate idea. And then there was the whole Gallade and Gardevoir sort of pairing thing that could go on. Even though Gardevoir can still be a dude. So you can have your super gay Pokemon couple.
Heck yeah. I think that's the best kind of Pokemon couple, is a male Gardevoir with his fabulous dress, and then your male Gallade looking all suave.
Yeah. But no, I really like Gallade. He's badass. The moves he can learn. Psychic fighting is a very interesting typing, which we had in the previous generation, but it's still focused on the special attacking nature of things, I believe. But Gallade was well, no, we're going physical now. Still got the special defense, but basically all the special attacks now gone to physical. And the move Psycho Cut just sounds awesome. And then when I played through Gen 4 again recently, I played Platinum, I was Gallade is one of the things I'm definitely having in my team. And the moves were just phenomenal that he knew. It was Stone Edge, Psycho Cut, Leaf Blade, and Night Slash or something like that. And he could just basically take on anything he faced.
Good.
So Gallade's pretty cool.
Nice.
Oh, right, and we're also doing the what would you nickname that Pokemon?
Yes.
I would nickname it Lance for a couple of reasons. I originally nicknamed it Galahad when I played through Platinum. But the reason I nicknamed it, or would nickname it Lance, is we basically hatched forever to get shiny...
So long.
To get shiny Pokemon so we could do a multi-team, which we've never used.
Because multi-teams didn't work quite the way that we thought they worked, and once we'd built that team and spent probably a good month preparing that team, that was when we found out that actually that's not how multi-battles worked.
No.
We done failed.
So I hatched forever to get my shiny Ralts, made it a shiny Gallade, and I called him Lance after Lancelot. And the idea was you had your shiny Gardevoir,
Yes.
who could be Gwen, as in Guinevere, and they could destroy nations as they did in the tales of old.
Yes. It was glorious. They never got to reign supreme, but separately they've reigned fairly supreme.
Oh, hell yeah, my Gallade kicks ass. Would you like to proceed?
Absolutely. So my 5th favourite is Primarina, who is the final stage of the water evolution of Gen 7, not Gen 8, as I kept saying the other day, which irritated Michael to no end, as most of my Pokemon failings do. So Primarina is a beautiful mermaid seal Pokemon who is just glorious. And in the first cliff note I have about why she's my favourite is, it's a mermaid with the hair I have always wanted.
Yep.
That just about sums her up. But no, Popplio was the water starter that I picked in my playthrough of Pokemon Sun. It was a tough choice between that and Lil Rowlet, but I picked Popplio, and when it turned into Primarina, it was just glorious. She is beautiful, she's a bulky special defender, her special attack is nothing to, turn your nose up at. She's also got this whole, is she a Selkie, is she a siren, is she a mermaid, what's she got going on in her life? Like, she's just, it's so, so, so beautiful and so clever. She's also a singer. Her special Z move is...
Oceanic Operator.
Yes, that's exactly what it is. You can tell Michael's got a better memory than I do. Which is just stunning. She's also got Sparkling Aria, which is one of her signature moves, and anybody who knows me will know that it's very difficult to stop me from singing. Not good at it, but it's difficult to stop me doing it.
It's about
Great fun.
About 90% of the day CJ is singing.
It irritates Michael to no end. As you can tell, no bitterness there. One of the other things that I really quite like about her is that when you start with Popplio, and to quote myself, it's a dorky borky Popplio. Which is just this tiny cute clown seal thing with a little red nose, and it's adorable, and it just goes bork. And then it evolves into this absolute goddess of a mermaid. The transformation's so beautiful, but you can still see that it is the same evolutionary line. And I love it. And she's beautiful. And I called mine Melodia. Mine was male. As a lot of the starters do tend to be, there is a higher chance that it'll be male. So I had a male called Melodia. I mean, there's nothing complicated about that. It's not a very clever name for it. Also, she is a singer.
I love the final cliff note is beautiful Primarina is V-good.
I think that's actually one big sentence saying the
it's...
huge difference between Dorky Borky Popplio and beautiful Primarina is V-good. But yeah, the last line of my cliff note says beautiful Primarina is V-good.
Yeah. Which
sums up why I love her, or him, dearly.
Yeah, Primarina's pretty cool. That was also my starter of choice. Rowlet was a close second. Very close second. Rowlet was good. Rowlet is adorable.
It's adorable. But yeah. So your fourth?
My fourth. Oh, my fourth was a slow contender. Took a while to actually take its place. Garchomp.
Chomp chomp.
Chomp chomp. For several reasons. He is a giant shark sand dragon thing.
Yeah, it's a fairly accurate description of him, actually.
A giant sand shark, which just already sounds badass. And
is that just how you're going to describe all of your favourite Pokemon, is badass?
Yeah, well, okay. No, that actually changes when we get to the next one.
Nice.
Garchomp was amazing. For a pseudo-legendary, it evolves sooner. Oh no, it doesn't evolve sooner. I was going to say it evolves sooner than any of the other ones, but Metagross evolves sooner. Oh no, I fooled myself.
He lies! He lies to you people!
I lied. Garchomp would just seemed a very easy pseudo-legendary to raise. Particularly, like, you could get from Gibble to Gabite very quickly, and then, because Gibble could actually learn moves, whereas Beldum just knew Takedown, until it evolved into Metang. But Garchomp, when you get to Garchomp, you just see it and it looks huge and badass and it's got claw arms and you're just like, oh, you're going to destroy the world, aren't you? And not to mention, the iconic trainer that's matched to it is Cynthia, the Gen 4 champion.
And Michael's Bay.
I kind of love Cynthia, she's kind of the best. And yeah, it ties again to Gen 4, which I didn't like quite as much, but when I played through it again, I found that I really liked it. and I had my team set out, and I knew that from the very start Garchomp was going to be in it, and it just had to be, and it's so powerful, so badass. And when we started playing the TCG recently, the first 2 decks I made were based around Gallade and Garchomp, and my Garchomp one is probably my most powerful.
Absolutely, I would agree with that.
I would definitely say it's the most powerful because it runs off low energy and does lots of damage.
It's also consistently powerful. Like, the way that it's built is it's a very consistent deck. The only problem we have is when we play the TCG, we only really play against each other, so a lot of the things aren't standard. So while it's probably not competitively viable now, as a deck built for just like play amongst friends, it is devastating. It absolutely decimates my fairies.
Yeah.
Time and time again. Although you did kind of build it to do that, so to be fair.
I didn't really. It was just I saw that Garchomp and thought, that's a damn good Garchomp.
And it is, I can confirm.
Very good. So that's why Garchomp is my number 4. It just looks so cool. And it's mega. Like, Garchomp...
It's also from Gen 4.
I've already established that.
No, but like, it's your number 4, and it's from Gen 4.
Ah, yeah, I see where you're coming from now. It's another one of those, like, the difference between Garchomp and Shiny Garchomp isn't really anything. But then...
But when you mega it...
When you mega it, it becomes pink and purple. And it's so cool. The nickname I have for my Garchomp is Yensa. Now, this goes back to anyone who's played Final Fantasy XII will know there was the 2 Sand Seas where you'd have this race called the Yensa. In fact, no, you'd have the... Yeah, I think they were called the Yensa, but they rode on some kind of sand sharks because it was a sand sea, so that it was like you could just essentially go through it like it was water. And it just kind of reminds me of those. So I'd call it Yensa, after the Sand Sea.
Nice. So moving swiftly on to my number 4, which is not from Gen 4. It is Little Litwick. Oh, it's adorable. You'll learn very quickly that a lot of my Pokemons are my favourite based on how they look and not how they play competitively.
Yeah, the common theme is cute.
Yeah, pretty much. What can I say? Living up to female stereotypes, love and life. So, what can I even say about it? First off, its name is so simple. It is a lit wick. It's literally what a tiny candle is.
Mm-hmm.
And there's something about that. Obviously, Gen 5 introduced a lot of new Pokemon, some of which people like, some of which people don't. But I instantly saw this tiny little white candle with a purple flame and saw the name Litwick and just thought, yes, this speaks to me. This is for dumb people like me who don't always get the really intricate names that Pokemon use to title their creations. But no, Litwick is pretty simple. Also, it has a tiny little emo fringe.
Mm-hmm.
Its melted wax gives it a little emo fringe, which is too adorable. It's a purple flame, which is my favourite colour. It's purple. And it's a very nice purple as well. But also, it's shiny. Is the shiny of Litwick also got a little orange flame?
I don't know.
I have a feeling it might. Could be wrong, though. Anyway. But one of the other things... Oh, Michael's throwing his phone about.
Throw it away.
One of the other things that I really like about it is in its... I think it's Pokemon White entry. It just reminds me of a Will-O-Wisp, which for those of you who are either familiar with myths or have seen the movie Brave... Breathe?
Brave. Yep.
Brave.
Brave.
You will know that there are tiny little lights that like lead you to your destiny or something like that.
I thought they led you to death.
They don't always, but if your destiny is death, then I guess they do. But what Litwick basically does is when people follow it, it acts like a guide, and then they follow the little light, but what that little light is doing is like sucking their soul. It is a ghost type Pokemon, I would like to point that out. But no, I just had an insane amount of love for this tiny little adorable death candle. It's like Lumiere gone bad. But yeah, that's one of my favourites. And I tended to call it... Now, I had one called Wispy, which then evolved into a Chandelure and made very little sense, because it was anything but wispy. But the Litwick in Gen 5 that I actually kept a Litwick was called Flicker. Oh, Michael's just pulled up a picture of a shiny Litwick for me, and the flame is blue, which is actually really pretty, but it makes me kind of sad because a shiny chandelier has an orange flame, which is
really cool.
Yeah, it looks like what it is, which is a fire chandelier.
Yeah.
So it's a blue flame, my bad. But
well.
you can tell I never ever owned a shiny Litwick. Sad times. Carry on, Michael.
Oh, yeah. You also love your candles as well. Like,
I love a good candle.
we have a candle going almost all the time.
A, because they smell good, and B, there's something about seeing a lit candle that makes me happy.
See, even just like if it's like later at night and it's all dark, and there's just like, there's just a single candle just going, and you see that wee flame going. It's really sort of relaxing.
It is.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah. So, we're gonna change themes with my lot.
Dun dun dun.
Dun, dun, dun.
We're going from badass
to kind of cute, and people who know me might know how this goes. I will swap between just the Pokemon that are badass and the Pokemon that are the most adorable. And number 3 in my slot is taken by Altaria, because I relate to Altaria on a personal level because it's fluffy. So I used to have really long hair, which I don't know. It just made me seem really fluffy.
I think because it was fairly like scraggly as well, and it would just every time you shook your head, it would just float about lightly.
Yeah.
You were the king of floof.
I was the floof, and that made me sort of relate to Altaria because it's a cloud. It's just a cloud bird, a fluffy dragon cloudy bird, and I really loved it.
Dragon cloudy bird.
Yep, that's what I'm calling it. I really loved it because it was a dragon, but you didn't sort of get the air of dragon about it.
Yeah.
It was really cool to obviously have.
It reminds me more of a chicken than a dragon.
A chicken, did you just say?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a little beak it's got.
Yeah, it's got a tiny little beak. It just reminds me of some, I don't even know, just a small bird.
Yeah.
And even not even just Swablu, just like Altaria itself just reminds me of a small bird. And I really liked its design in its Gen 3 sprite, where it's just surrounded by its wings, so it looks like it's just floating on a cloud. Whereas in the newer games, it's got its wings spread out, so like they are just like clouds off to the side. But it seems so, I don't know, it's just so fluffy. I want to give it a hug. I want to like just have one and just sit in its wings and just let it like engulf me. It's also tied to one of my favourite Gen 3 gym leader, or in fact no, my favourite Gen 3 gym leader, Winona. I don't know if it's her, I think it is her signature Pokemon, because you don't expect it, because it's dragon flying. Your electric types that you've been using that whole match are only going to do like, one amount of damage, same as with Tropius. And it's nothing particularly amazing competitively. It's just cute and fluffy. And then it's
welcome to my kind of favourites.
Yeah.
I like it because it's cute.
And then it's Mega as well. Mega Altaria was pretty amazing when I saw it. What did we do with this fluffy bird? Let's make it more fluffy. And let's give it the power to kill dragons. Let's make it the ultimate dragon counter. Because if you take a dragon to it, let's just, make it use dragon type moves or fairy type moves. It doesn't matter. It'll just be able to kill that dragon.
It's also a good fairy counter, because fairy was used quite heavily to try and counter dragons. Give it a fairy typing and it's meh.
Yeah.
It's great.
It doesn't do quite as... No, it does. Does it still do 2 times damage?
Don't think so.
Oh well. Couldn't learn anything steel based, which is annoying. It could only really learn steel wing, so it couldn't get out of that one. And it could also then be hit by ground type moves.
Meh.
Even though it was still flying.
Meh.
But it doesn't really
Still
matter.
cute.
Yeah, it's still adorable. I still love my Altaria. And that was the basis for my fairy TCG deck as well.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. And what did I name my Altaria? Altaria was one I struggled with to nickname. I went with... I don't know, I think I went with Floof when I played through Oris.
I think you did. That rings a bell.
Floof.
I remember facing a floof.
Yeah. Floof was pretty good. I love my Floof. And that's my number 3.
Yep, we're hitting Adorable Town. So my number 3 is Charmander. Now, Charmander was the first Pokemon I ever owned. I played Red before I played Yellow, so I owned a Charmander before I had a Pikachu as my starter. I also found that you had to work really hard with it. I don't know if that was just because it had type disadvantage in the gyms at first, or whether it was just I was a noob at Pokemon.
No. Playing Charmander is essentially hard mode, because if you choose Bulbasaur, you've got advantage against Brock and Misty. Choose Squirtle, you've got advantage against Brock. Mm-hmm. Choose Charmander, you've got none.
You've got disadvantage against both, actually, then.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You've got advantage against none. And it is, experience-wise, a lot more difficult to raise as well.
Yeah. I would also like to point out that you'll start to notice a theme now where Charmander has teeny tiny fangs. When you look at its sprite, it's just this like open mouth thing with two teeny tiny fangs at the top and bottom, which just, it speaks to my heart on some kind of alternate level. It's so adorable. One of the things that also cemented it being one of my absolute favourites is the Pokemon, like the first series episode with Charmander in it, when its trainer abandons it on a rock because it only wants strong Pokemon, and then it's refusing to move off the rock, but then it starts raining, and if a Charmander's tail goes out, then it dies, and then Ash runs back out in the rain to try and save it, and then it puts a little leaf over it to try and protect its tail, and then it still nearly dies, and it's just too sad. That is actually, I would say, one of the top 3 saddest episodes in the original series, the other 2 being... Well, I don't know if Bye Bye Pikachu was the first series or into the second series.
Pikachu?
It's Bye Bye Butterfree, and then he also says goodbye to Pikachu later on.
Oh yeah, that's when Pikachu goes and joins its other Pikachu brother, isn't
Yeah,
it?
but it doesn't actually go and join them. It comes back, obviously, but it was still pretty sad. But no, the Charmander episode hits me in the feels every single time. Every time.
I like the episode with Bill. Carry on.
Good addition there. I would also say that of the 3 starters episodes, I prefer the Charmander one. Squirtle Squad's really cool, and the Bulbasaur's like secret family thing that it's protecting is also pretty cool. But there's just something about being hit in the feels by a Charmander that I just can't get over. And also, as you will notice, I pick my favourite Pokemon and what Pokemon I want based on how they look. Mm-hmm. So when I was picking a starter, I knew nothing about Pokemon. I knew literally nothing. I think it was my big cousin's game that had been given to my little brother and then I had happened to nick. I played that, and the reason I picked Charmander was literally because I thought it was cuter than the other Pokemon.
Well, that was sort of how you had to go when you first played Pokemon, because you didn't know anything. That's why I chose... Well, when I first played it, I chose Totodile for Gen 2, but to be fair, one of the first games I had was Yellow, so I didn't really get a choice.
Yeah, that was the second game I played, and I was actually kind of happier that I didn't have the choice, because by that point I fell in love with Charmander, and I thought I could never love another starter like I loved Charmander.
But you still got a Charmander in Yellow.
Yeah!
Yeah.
But it wasn't your first baby, which made me sad. So yeah, I love Charmander, and that was the name I've got for it is never what I called it, but Michael had a Charmander when we kind of first started going out that he named for me, and it's called Chara Jane.
Yeah.
Which is close to my name. And it's adorable, and I don't think Charmander should be named anything else ever again.
And its nature was sassy.
Yeah, so it was a sassy Chara Jane.
That was pretty perfect.
Yeah.
I was so... did I tell you the moveset I was tempted to keep for it? So I ended up teaching it good things like, Fire Fang, I think Flamethrower, Dragon Claw, and Shadow Claw, something like that.
Okay.
I was so close to letting it keep the move Scary Face. So close.
How appropriate would that have been?
Pretty great.
Chara Jane uses Scary Face. Michael runs away to pee himself.
Yes. As is most nights.
Yeah, it's true. Anyway, number 2.
Number 2 is a Gen 7 one for me. And it was the most instant jump to my favourites of any Pokemon ever.
I'm surprised that it never went straight to number 1, I'm going to be honest. For how much love you have for this Pokemon, I am so surprised it never went straight from not existing to Michael's number 1 Pokemon.
I gotta keep my favourite at my heart.
You do. But it was, yeah.
This Pokemon holds a special place to me. It's Cutiefly. Cutiefly.
Pause for laughter.
Yes, pause for the laughter. Cutiefly, I don't know about your opinion, obviously you have a different opinion on Cute. It's the most adorable Pokemon I've ever seen.
I mean, I can agree that it is really adorable.
It's a tiny cotton bud with little dangly bits of string coming from its face.
It's the dangly legs that get me.
Yep, and it's got a tiny little beak, and it's got the smallest eyes.
Teeny tiny wings.
And its teeny wings that go forever, and he never stops, and he's adorable. That's the only reason I saw Cutie Fly. When I saw the trailer that Cutie Fly was released in, my ice cold stone heart melted. And I don't know if I ran to CJ or I showed her the video and I was like, CJ.
We were watching it at the same time at that point. Mm-hmm. I've never had you grip my knee with, like, I actually thought it was going to, like, shatter my knee. It was a death grip.
Yeah, that was... The reveal of Cutie Fly was a pretty important deal to me. And then Ribombi come out and I was like, Ribombi's pretty cute.
It's got a little scarf.
It's got a little scarf. It's pretty cute. Its evolution... I really expected Ribombi to evolve further, but that's fine if it didn't. It's okay. I just stuck with my Cutie Fly. So we started playing Pokemon Sun and Moon. And CJ started playing a little bit more than me. I think I was still... I was either on placement or something like that. I didn't have as much access to playing Pokemon, so CJ was playing a bit more, got further ahead, and the entire time I just kept asking, when do we see Cutie Fly? Which route does Cutie Fly appear on? When do we get it? Is it on the first island? Is it the second island? I need my Cutie Fly. And she was like, it's okay, it's just a little bit up the road. And I was like, right, fine. I got a Cutie Fly, kept it in my team, I called it Kazoo, so there's the nickname for us.
Mm-hmm.
I got to the point where where you could hatch Pokemon, and it was now the Pokemon nursery, so they didn't level up.
Yeah, and that's like quite early. It's second island. It's...
Yeah. I then proceeded to put that Cutie Fly in the daycare with another Cutie Fly and hatch eggs forever.
He didn't have the shiny charm. There was no help. He was just
no
hatching from scratch.
Pokemon at all. I did eventually get a foreign Cutie Fly. And I think I had no, I didn't have a Ditto to go with it. I had a foreign Cutie Fly and Kazoo as well, I believe. And I just hatched forever and forever and forever. I didn't progress at all. I progressed a little bit and then I went back and I kept hatching. I hatched hundreds of eggs. Possibly 1,000. I don't know.
It will have been in the thousands. You were hatching for like over a month.
I was hatching for a while. Till eventually... One day, I was just sitting there hatching eggs. I looked away for a brief second, looked back, and there was this little pink ball of fluff. You know, pink is my favourite colour. So for it shiny to be pink, I needed one. And eventually I got one. I named her Kazoo, and she was a staple in my team forever. She was, I think, the highest level thing of anything in my team. She could never stand up to much, but she still was just there.
I mean, you took her all the way to the Elite Four.
I did.
You did really well with Kazoo.
She was in my champion team.
Not many people can say that about a Cutie Fly.
No.
That at least you had one of your faves.
I do. So there's Cutie Fly. And that's the cuteness over for me.
But it's never over for me. So this is the bit where I had to give a good 24 hours of hard thought and soul searching to come to this. Mm-hmm. When we were originally trying to plan like what we were going to do for the first episode, and we thought, right, we'll do our 5 favourite Pokemon. I was like, oh, we're going to have to do it in some kind of order. I was like, this means I'm going to have to order my favourite children. Now, it's not pleasant, but it's fairly easy getting like 5, 4 and 3. Trying to pick which of the next 2 is my favourite has been one of the most difficult things I have ever done in my life. And I have done many, many difficult things. Mm-hmm. But it's finally happened. I've done it. I've made my decision. It'll probably change in 5 minutes' time. Yep. But we're going to go for it. My second favourite Pokemon is Chansey.
I kind of knew this was the case. I knew between those two, I knew how it would have worked out.
But that's just because I talk about the other one a bit more.
Yeah.
It's easier to gush about. Whereas Chansey just like, it speaks to me on a really quiet emotional level. Like I get it.
Yeah.
I am Chansey. I am that little pink, fat, roly-poly Pokemon with weird dangly bits at the side for hair and or ears. And a giant egg and...
It's funny, I never remember you holding all these things or being the size of Chansey. In fact, I never remember you looking like a Chansey.
You just haven't seen it.
I've not been looking
I do it when the curtains are shut and you're not home.
Not very attentive.
So, for those who don't know, Chansey is a Gen 1 Pokemon. Nightmare to catch in Gen 1, would you agree?
Oh, of course, the worst.
But I have nothing but love for it. In the series as well, it was also Nurse Joy's little helper. I say little helper, it's huge. Helper Pokemon. So it's got that caring, nurturing side, which is just a part of who Chansey is, regardless of whether she's Nurse Joy's helper. It's it'll also literally smack a bitch up if it's messing with its patients or it's not behaving and doing what it's told.
Yeah, that bit where Meowth goes into hysterics.
Yes, it slaps it. It literally slaps it about. It gives it a good bitch slap with its weird little cylindrical arms that don't have any hands. It's just got these two little cylinder things.
Yep. You know the reason I think you like it so much is because it's so similar to Kirby as well?
It is very similar to Kirby. This and number one just have that like round pink adorableness.
Yeah.
There's just something. There's something about them.
Mm-hmm. It's also, I really like that episode of the series with like where they go to the people Is it they go to the people hospital?
People hospital.
They go to the people hospital, and I don't know what Pokemon's feeling sick, but they need to like essentially just heal the Pokemon, and then Team Rocket come along and like their Arbok's like all tied up. You know the one I'm on about.
Yeah, that's the one where Meowth's having a freak out and Chansey bitch slaps it. Yeah. I know exactly the one you're talking about. That's up there in one of my favourite episodes, purely because of Chansey being the biggest bamf it has ever been in the entire series.
Yeah.
And that speaks to me on a really emotional level. Those who don't know, I work in healthcare, so seeing Chansey going from being this like bumbling, chubby Pokemon who's just like Nurse Joy's little helper, loving life, helping out the peeps, and then when you try and mess with it or you're not getting stuff done and you're not being effective and doing the best you can for your Pokemon patients and not untangling that Arbok and doing what you're supposed to do and running about with the good stuff but not doing it properly, it literally flips on you and it will make you do the right thing. And it's almost like it's so instinctive within it. And it's so fat and cute and pink. And I love it. And I am a Chansey.
Also, Chansey!
Yeah, who cannot love that? How can you not? I just can't do it. And the memes of Chansey that exist.
Oh,
and
so
there's
good. This nursing license is legit. I brought the good shit.
There's that, and there's the I'm so Chansey, you already know, is set to the tune of I'm so fancy.
I'm healing Pokemon from Kanto to Unova. Or Unova to Kanto.
Yeah, there's just something about it that I can't even, and I've loved it since Gen 1, since before I even followed in the Chansey's footsteps to go into healthcare. So yeah, Chansey. And mine gets called Eggy Yelling, based on a doodle that Rumwick did on, and I only ever follow Rumwick on Tumblr, which is where I follow most of Rumwick's art. And they did a Chansey one, and I would highly advise that you go and check out Rumwick, but especially Eggy Yelling, which is the caption for that picture, because it is the embodiment of Chansey.
Basically just a super fat Chansey going, oh!
Yeah, basically.
Obviously not with sound, because it's a picture.
But yeah. Those are my feels on Chansey. And I'm hyper emotional. I need to go hug a Chansey.
Okay. We don't have a Chansey.
No. But that's okay.
Yeah. So, we were now to do sort of the general themes before we get to our number one. So, the general theme for mine was a good strong mix of badass and adorable. You already had that with like Gallade and Garchomp. You know, you got the badass side. And then the Altaria Cutie is very adorable. My number one doesn't fit into either of those.
No.
Because it's not really super badass. Like, nobody would look at it and think... In fact, a lot of people look at it and don't like it. I know a lot of people that don't like this Pokemon just for the way it looks. So it's not particularly badass. Its moveset it can have at one point is fairly badass, but you can say that about a lot of Pokemon. And it's not really adorable. So, I don't know, the winner for the first favourite doesn't even fit into that.
I think it fits in with your nostalgia category though, because that has been your favourite probably since you played Gen 1, would you say?
No, it took a little while for it to actually jump up to my favourite. Because like when you're young you just look at like the Pokemon that look cool and just like...
You're like, oh, that legendary's my favourite.
Yeah. Like Gengar was my favourite for the longest time.
Yeah, that's true.
And I really like Nidoking. I still do really like Nidoking. I don't know, it wasn't my favourite from the very beginning. So, I don't know, there's that.
Okay. Most of the themes that I've noticed from mine is that they tie in with the generations that they are from.
Mm-hmm.
So my top 3, spoiler alert, are all Gen 1 Pokemon. But that's because, I mean, that is just nostalgia based. I've known those Pokemon for the longest time. I've had the feels about those Pokemon for the longest time. So it would be really difficult for something to override that, especially with, Charmander being the first Pokemon you get, Chansey being like that nurse Pokemon, number 1, I'll go into, but just being what it is,
Mm-hmm.
it's not that I love them much more than, my Gen 5 pick or my Gen 7 pick, but I do because I've had them for longer.
Yeah.
And I feel like, you get to know a Pokemon and you get to use it differently the longer you have time to play with it.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But then obviously Litwick, who's Gen 5. Gen 5 is a generation that got me back into Pokemon. I stopped playing after Gen 1 because it wasn't cool for girls to be playing Pokemon, yo. Hashtag peer pressure.
Yeah.
But then Gen 5 came out and I couldn't stay away from it any longer. So Gen 5 got me back into Pokemon, so it only feels right to have one of my favourite Gen 5 Pokemon as one of my top 5. And then obviously Gen 7, that was the first generation I actually got to play along with.
Mm-hmm.
So we got the games when they came out, we played along with everyone else that was, actively playing along, getting with all the hype, discovered everything at the same time as everyone else.
Yeah.
And it was a starter from that, so I literally got to have that from as soon as I started playing that game, and it followed me through that game, followed me through that generation.
Yeah.
So there was just something about that you just can't beat.
Yeah. I think I was sort of like, I played 1, 2, and 3, and then stopped, and then missed 4, 5, came back in for 6, like 3 months after it came out, but I still started playing 6 around the time it was released. But before I did, I actually went back and started playing through 4. I didn't enjoy it. And then obviously 7, we played from like the very get-go. It was ordered, like pre-ordered, and arrived on the day of release. And it was just so fun.
It was. It was good. It was nice actually playing a game along with the hype and with everyone else discovering the stuff that's in it.
Yeah.
That was good fun.
Yeah.
So, are you ready to reveal your number 1?
I am indeed.
The people are waiting.
My number 1 favourite Pokemon is Magmar.
Dun dun dun. Let that sink in.
Nobody likes Magmar.
You do.
I like Magmar. So few people like Magmar. I don't think I've ever met another Pokemon who's... Another Pokemon?
I don't think I've ever met another Pokemon.
I've ever met another person whose favourite Pokemon is Magmar. And I honestly don't know what it is about Magmar that takes my favourite spot. He's tied to possibly one of my favourite gym leaders ever, Blaine. And that episode with Magmar was just so cool. He came across as intimidating, but it's not an intimidating Pokemon.
No.
But just the way it's presented is just like, you feel the power about it. You just look at it and you're like, oh, this thing's ready to throw down. And then Pikachu can't do jack shit. Charizard's crap against it at first. But then you find out that Magmar's like really super helpful, and he helps obviously like save the gym because that's his home because he lives in a volcano. I think it's also really awesome that he lives in a volcano.
It's pretty badass.
It is quite badass.
Tying in with the theme. It's pretty badass.
It's a weird fire duck thing. Coincidentally, there's the nickname that I give to it, Lieutenant Fire Duck. I don't know why I give it the name Lieutenant.
Because you feel like it's important enough that it needs a commissioned rank.
Deserves a military title, yes. And yeah, when I played through Gen 6, I found a competitive... Or not a competitive, but I found a good, like, decent moveset for a Magmar that can absolutely devastate, and that was using the Belly Drum set.
Yeah.
With Fire Punch, Thunder Punch, and Mach Punch.
Punchy McPunch Punch.
Yeah, it basically just slaps his belly and then punches you in the face.
So Michael likes to fight too.
That's pretty much how it goes. Yeah, Magmar's just, I don't know, it's just really cool. And then obviously whenever I went back and played through games, Magmar was always to be in my Gen 1 teams when I played through Blue, because that was the only game you could catch it in. And when I played through Sun and Moon, or when I played through Moon even, when you got to the volcano there again, obviously very fitting, it's got Magmars, or Magbees. It's got both of them actually.
Magbees!
Yeah, it's got Magbees and Magmars. I saw that and I was like, well, gotta catch me a Magmar, obviously. And then I had my Magmar and my Cutiefly in my team. But Magmar sort of, for the longest time, held the top spot in my favourites. Cutiefly is like always going to be up there as well, like, but Magmar's pretty good.
Yeah.
I like my Magmar.
I also got your really derpy looking Magmar.
It's the most derpy plush I think I've ever seen. And I've seen lots of plushes. Just in general, I've seen lots of plushes. But that Magmar has seen things.
I think that's why I picked that one. There were some that were slightly more normal and more Magmar-like looking, but that one just encapsulates Magmar.
Yeah. Yeah, that one's pretty weird.
Yeah.
But it's good. I like it.
Good.
Number 1?
Finally, we have reached the point where I discuss my number 1. It's Clefairy. It is my adorable little Moonchild Pokemon. That's not its actual Pokemon name.
I think that's his Pokedex entry.
I don't think it's the Moonchild Pokemon. I don't know if it's the Moon Pokemon.
Lunar Pokemon? No, it's not the Lunar. It might be the Moon.
Who knows? Michael's going to look that up. We'll get back to you on that. The reasons I love Clefairy are...
A book by CJ.
It's actually the name of my autobiography. The reasons I love Clefairy. So let's start off with the common running theme throughout my favourite Pokemon. It's cute. Closely followed by it's pink. It has these teeny tiny wings and this little curly whirly tail that just like hides at the back of it, and then you think it's normal when you see it at the front, and then you turn it around and bam, it's got that curly tail and it's got some wings. And then it's got one of the cutest things, and I have annoyed Michael so many times by talking about this, and I get quite emotional when I talk about it, but it's got these teeny tiny little fangs, and it opens its mouth to smile, and then you think it's adorable, but then it's got these little fangs and it'll bite you if you annoy it or you damage its moonrock, and it's too much to handle. It is way too much to handle. So then also, the episode that has Clefairy in it, where they're in the...
Mount Moon.
Yeah, I was going to say the cave. It looks like a cave, but it's Mount Moon.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's obviously the giant moon rock in it. And there's this horde of tiny, adorable pink Clefairies and then giant Clefables, but I feel less emotionally attached to Clefable than I do Clefairy. And then they're all just keen about being like, Clefairy, Clefairy. And there's just a horde of them. There's an army of tiny pink adorable babies. And I can't contain my love for these tiny pink things. So mine tends to get called Luna. It's one of the Pokemon, Charmander's kind of the same, where its shiny form doesn't impress me in any way, shape or form. All that really happens with Clefairy when it goes shiny is the little tips of its adorable little pointy ears. They go green instead of the kind of browny blacky colour that they are. But...
I kind of like its sprites in Gen 6, because obviously they're all 3D.
Yes.
I like how it waddles to the side.
Oh, it's so fat it can't help itself, and it's got these. It's not even got proper legs. It's got, well, most Pokemon don't have
stubs.
proper legs. Yeah, it's just got little tiny stubby feet, and it's so fat that it waddles. And its Gen 1 sprite is really fat in that. It really annoys me when they take fat Pokemon and skinnyfy them. If a Pokemon's supposed to be fat, it's supposed to be fat. Don't try and make it skinny to make it cool. Just let it be an obese little pink fluff.
Yeah.
Okay. Again with the memes. This tends to happen where when I see a really good meme of a Pokemon I already love, if it's a good meme, I love it even more. And there's one where it just looks like a tree with a giant hole in it, and then out of nowhere there's like 3 or 4, maybe even 5 Clefairies all like appear at once. And they're like, Clefairy! And it just reminds me of me waking people up in the morning and being really annoying and slightly too chirpy, and it's too adorable. So yeah, you now all know my secret in that I am weak to adorableness and cuteness and pinkness and chubbiness. I just can't help myself.
No.
And it's just got these tiny little white fangs.
Tiny fangs. You good?
Rant done.
You good?
I'm good.
You done?
I'm so done.
You're done.
I'm so done.
Good.
I think we're done.
Yeah, I'd say they're pretty done. Not much more we can really say about them. I think we've discussed them at pretty good length here.
Yep, I think the people now know more than they ever wanted to know about our favourite Pokemon.
Especially about Clefairy.
They've learned nothing that will further their knowledge on Pokemon or will, enrich their lives any, but
No.
they can say they know us a bit better.
They know something about us.
Yeah.
Maybe you'll learn more about us when we discuss things further in the next episode that we do sometime.
Maybe.
Perhaps. Who knows what we'll discuss? Who knows when we'll discuss it?
We definitely don't. Feel free to leave comments below regarding your favourite Pokemon. maybe even the reasons why. Educate us, or don't, whatever floats
Yeah,
your
sure.
boat.
Tell us why you think our choices are ridiculous.
Tell us why you think we're daft.
Yeah.
Or why our names are crap for babies.
Or if there's anything you think you'd like us to discuss in episodes, because these will be... Obviously, we have some ideas of what we're going to discuss, but if you've got any thoughts of anything like that, feel free to leave a comment with that as well. But until next time, I've been Michael.
I have been CJ, and we have been casting.
And such.
Bye now.
See you later.